I'm going to make sure you get home safe. That way you'll be looking at my mother, okay. And so it's very, you want to be, nice. And that's a good advice, Cannon, to know that, you're going to get what you give. If you give negativity, sometimes that's what they're going to give to that person. And in some cases, your negativity can be the abuse that that your loved one gets. So, be nice and kind to someone, but just be aware. Like he said, pop up sometimes. Look at some information and, look at the people and come in times that they're not expecting you. And so you can do that. I'm just waiting for the music. I wish y'all stop acting like I don't know what I'm doing around here. Y'all know I know what I'm doing. Y'all got me wrapping up. Just play the music, baby. I know what I'm doing. Hey, I love these people here. They always got me doing things. Hey, we're about to go to our station identification break. We'll be right back. This is the Let's Stay Together show talking about elderly abuse. See you in a few minutes.
This is D. Curtis Randall with the Gospel Countdown Rewind, taking a look back at this week's Gospel Top 10.
Number 10.
I'm not the same. Ever since I met the Savior, see my life has changed. I must admit back in the day I did some crazy things.
Number 9.
Bless me, Lord, bless me. Even me, Lord, bless me.
Number 8.
Do you mind if I testify and tell you of the goodness of my Lord?
Number 7.
This means war. This means war.
Number 6.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. The one and only God.
Number 5.
I will do anything.
Number 4. Number 3. Number 2. Number 1.
Join Lady T, Art the Baptist, Robert Reno, and myself as we play the best in gospel music on the D. Curtis Randall Show, Saturdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Central on urbanbroadcastmedia.com. You be in praise.
Now here is the Let's Stay Together show with Reverend Ricardo McCain and author Brenda McCain, helping you to rebuild your relationships with God.
Join us next week for this epic show. Teen Life, Teen Dark, Teen Sisterhood, 1 million shades of black beauty. You don't want to miss this broadcast. March is Women's History Month, and tonight we are honoring Maureen Chiquette, born 1963. She is the CEO of Fashion House Chanel, a role she has been in since 2007. She is also the CEO of the clothing chain Peak. Aren't you curious? Chiquette was born as Catherine Doherty Maureen Chiquette in St. Louis, Missouri in 1963. She studied at Yale University in Connecticut, where she graduated with a degree in film and literature. She was unsure what future career to pursue after graduation, as was reported to have left the examination midway through a law school admissions test. Chiquette went to do a marketing internship at L'Oreal Paris, work she later described as the beginning of her career and love affair with the world of beauty and fashion. Looking for a great cause? Help New Faith Baptist Church International fight against Ebola. Go to Amazon to support the Joseph Assignment. Go to www.smile.amazon.com. The Let's Stay Together talk show debuted on television was March 15th on Everyone Has a Story show. Our topic, Young, Gifted, and Black. Rise Up and Walk will be coming to your home very soon. Air dates will be announced. Get ready for the Let's Stay Together television show coming this summer.
This concludes the Let's Stay Together talk show announcements.
Now here is the Let's Stay Together show with Reverend Ricardo McCain and author Brenda McCain, helping you to rebuild your relationships with God.
Hey, welcome back to the Let's Stay Together show. I got my producer saying, sit down at that mic, man. We about to get ready to come on. Jonathan, I love you, baby. Thanks for being over there with us. Hey, we're going to go right back into our questions. You know, I want to go back to Canada real quick because we had talked about something in the call that came in, and we didn't finish it up. We were talking a little bit about the sexual abuse that was talking about, and you were saying it's not necessarily what we think. You know, there can be some other abuse as well. So piggyback and talk a little bit about that again.
Well, it just is that a lot of times, you know, we get this image that it has to be sexual assault, rape, or something like that. But it's not always. I mean, and if you're made to do something and there's a sexual component in it that you don't want, where it's not consensual, then it's sexual abuse.
Yeah.
So if, you know, consider what you would feel like if your 6-year-old son or daughter was made to look at pornographic material that they didn't want to look at or that they didn't understand.
Right.
I mean, how is it any better that if I'm 96, I have to be subjected to that if that's not what I want?
Right.
If it's something I don't want, then it shouldn't be done. And if it is done, it constitutes sexual abuse.
Hey, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is a show that you definitely want to call in, 312-754-4333. We've got some very educated people here that can help you out. If you're having a situation and you know somebody, call them now to call in so you can learn about what you can do to fight against elderly abuse. Baby, go with your question.
How can you tell if your loved one is being cared for properly? They happy when they see you? Clap your hand. How can you tell?
Every situation is different. Again, I start off first and foremost by assessing a situation legally anyway from the standpoint, does my patient have the ability to talk?
Right.
If they can communicate for themselves, boy, it's a huge home run, right? But if they can't, then you do have to look at some of the factors that we've heard kind of mentioned before. You have to look at how they're being treated, what their hygiene level is, whether or not you're picking up odors, whether or not there's dehydration. A lot of times what will happen is you'll have somebody that has difficulty or pain when they're eating. Right, so then they'll end up not eating as much because of the pain, and then their weight drops. Right. Well, when their weight drops, it's not necessarily because of the fact that they're not hungry. It's because you don't have a caregiver that's willing to cut up the food so that they can manage it.
Right.
You know, and so now if I see my loved one losing 20 pounds in a matter of, you know, a month and a half, I've got reason to be concerned. It's not.
I never thought about that with the food because they do, you know, bring a plate
and sit it down. I've
right.
seen where CNAs have come in, bought the meal, set it down, and the patient is looking at it. What are they going to do if they're bedridden? What if they can't use their hands? What's going to happen? That patient is not going to eat. That patient is not going to drink.
Yeah, she's preaching right now.
Okay,
she really is.
And that's something you should be aware of. What about a patient that has not had any dental care? Teeth are falling out. They're hurting. They're in pain. They're losing weight from that. Nobody has brushed their teeth in months. I've seen that happen. You know, that's
you are
another
breaking my heart.
That's another form of abuse.
Yeah, and we never look at that. You know that. I mean, I wouldn't have thought about that either. To pay attention to the fact that if your parents' teeth are getting cleaned or
Or if they're even hurting.
If they're hurting or something like
say.
that. I mean, I would have never thought about that. And so,
or their hair being combed. One thing I do remember when Mama McCain, she wanted me to oil her hair and comb her hair. And it was like a special moment with me with her. They had that beautiful hair. He had beautiful hair, too.
Yeah, when I had hair.
They had that beautiful hair. And I used to just love running my fingers through her hair and stuff. Then I thought about it. Okay, Vanessa did come out there a lot, so that probably wasn't a problem. But the other people, because she used to have a roommate that always was laying on her side. And I'm going to share this, Rick. For me, learning to sleep on my left side, it's painful. I ended up getting injured that way. And I can't imagine a senior who's not being able to turn and mobile and everything. I used to look at that lady like, they haven't, in the hours we could sit there, nobody would come in, and she did smell.
And you have to actually be communicative with the caregiver, right? You want to ask them, how's mom doing today? How's she doing? What did she do? Did she eat? How much did she eat? Did she move? Or you have to actually help to drive the care by way of showing your involvement as well. And so when you do ask those types of questions, you end up getting information sometimes that you didn't expect that you'd get, and it's useful.
That's true.
Yeah, and it's true. And, the thing about it is so amazing is that we've brought up so many hidden things that we you're not even thinking about when you're talking about some kind of abuse with someone. Again, I mean, my mom had, we were there, we had to cut up her food, but I never paid any attention to the fact that some people may not be able to eat because they can't do that themselves, and the food sits there and they just take the tray out and they put the food away because nobody's going to sit in there and take the time to feed that individual.
And then what they do is they chart the record that says didn't eat.
Patient refused to eat.
Right.
Oh, so, is that the code?
That's the code.
Yeah.
Patient refused
so people listen to this information out there. Again, I'm going to tell you, if you know somebody, have them listen to the show, because this is some vital information that you need to understand, because it says person has refused to eat doesn't mean that they didn't want to. It's that they possibly couldn't do it. That you have to be aware that when you go to your, to go see your loved one, are you eating? And they said no. Then when that parent says or that loved one says no, you need to find out why. And then sometimes you need to pop up there on food when they're on the feeding schedule and find out why aren't they eating. Is it because they can't, because no one's feeding them? And then you need to say, hey, she needs some assistance. And Cannon, is that a part of the program that the facility is supposed to help the person feed with
Absolutely.
eating?
If I've had a stroke and I can't move, then obviously I'm going to need assistance, right? And I would tell everybody, listen, a lot of times we let our fear of not knowing paralyze us. Right, we feel like just because I don't know what elder abuse looks like, I must be making it up in my own mind. You can't approach it that way. The way I see this is that if you have a concern, you should voice it, you should pursue it, you should investigate it, period. Mm-hmm. And you can do so in a myriad of ways. It does not, don't let the fact that you feel like you don't necessarily know deter you from caring for and being concerned about the person you love. Because at the end of the day, if there is no concern, guess what? You'll be happy. The information you get will make you happy.
Yeah.
Right.
But if there is something for you to be concerned about, then guess what? Then you can do something about it.
Yeah.
You can contact the Illinois Department of Health and make a report. I would strongly suggest that in the event that you run into a situation where you do believe that there's abuse, you contact IDPA. Why? Because they'll do an investigation. And if that investigation comes up to be nothing, then guess what? Okay.
It's nothing.
But it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I will say, just as an aside, in the event that you're considering litigation, it does not in and of itself, the fact that there is a negative finding, it doesn't block your ability to bring a claim. And in fact, sometimes you're able to bring claims in spite of that.
And we're definitely going to talk about the litigation part of it coming in the next hour and even now, too. But you're going to add something on to that, Rena?
I just want to piggyback off of what he was saying. It puts the nursing home on notice as well. You know what I mean? They'll pay more attention. The DONs, the front office will start paying a little bit more attention. If you just put a report in, if you suspect something is happening, and a lot of times if you feel it, it's happening.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and file a report.
Now, should I be afraid, that if by filing the report, sometimes people say, well, I don't want to do that because it might bring abuse to my loved one.
Oh, you don't have to give your name.
And the statute specifically prohibits adverse actions taken against the patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're not. Listen, what's supposed to happen and what does happen, there's a huge gulf a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I get that, and I understand the very real fear, but I think at the